Welcome to the Otter's House of Scares. I'm your host, the Otter Samurai, and tonight's game is Home. Your game will be saved automatically at certain points. However, we recommend you put aside an hour and a half and complete Home in a single sitting. Well, we're not going to do the full game, obviously, but we're just going to... All I remembered at that point was finding myself alone. Oh, oh my head. Where was I? It was so dark. Alright, time for some pixelated horror. There was something by my feet. A flashlight. Up, down, up. What the hell? That house. Where was I? What the hell? There was a body lying on the floor. Who was it? I didn't recognize his face. He was still kind of warm. Okay. Whoa! Oh, shit. Stupid cat. Come here, kitty. I'm not gonna hurt you. The desk had a computer and some papers on it, and a single drawer. I didn't want to snoop, but did I open the drawer? Yes. Receipts, pens, and a blurry photo. Looked like a store of some kind. Why did this look so familiar? I really shouldn't have been going through this stuff. Getting my fingerprints everywhere. Blood on the wall. It smelled fresh. Hey, what's up? It smelled fresh and sickening. I realized there was blood on my shoes and pants. Welcome to the show. We're playing some Home. Thank you for hanging out with me. Definitely check you out on future chance I get. Oh man, how'd I get out of there? Blood! That man died in the hallway? What was that blood doing here? The hell? Oh. I noticed that I limped as I moved down the stairs. How did I hurt my leg? I wondered. All I could really recall was coming home, seeing Rachel. I was upset. She looked afraid. I shook my head and tried to clear it. I knew I should head downstairs, try to find a way out. Uh, 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 uh. The shelf was full of books on local history hunting. It seemed like the owner of the house really knew the area. There were scribbles of all kinds of random scraps of paper, and notes about some kind of water tower. Did he mean the one by the old train yard? Oh god, what was it? An old dining table covered in dirty dishes for two people. There were dozens of beer cans and other liquor bottles among the dishes. The smell was turning my stomach. How long had this been here rotting? The man upstairs didn't look like he'd been dead a long time. A black and white photo. Looked like the man upstairs and his wife, I guess. There was no reason for me to keep this. Did I take it? Nah. I figured it was no help to me, so I left it behind. The hell? A thin gray mouse was stuck in a trap. It looked frantic because exhausted. Did I free it? You're free, mousey! A collection of rusty tools. These look like they'd seen a lot of use and were caked in damp smelling dirt. Why aren't they in the shed? I found a picture of a couple. It looked like it had been moved a lot. There seems to be a switch behind it. Push the switch. It pressed smoothly into the wall. I heard a faraway click somewhere. Something must have opened somewhere. Like a pixelated version of Resident Evil. I looked like hell. My clothes were dirty and torn. There was mud caked all over my shoes. The front door was blocked by a pile of furniture. I knew I'd have to find another way out. bathroom was incredibly clean. Every surface had been thoroughly wiped, and nothing seemed out of place. There was a photo development tray laying on the floor. Some leftover negatives were sticking out, but they were pretty blurry. I thought I saw what looked like treetops. Seemed odd that the tray had been left there, considering how clean the rest of the bathroom was. Looking good, disco style. Oh, shit. What the The door was taped up and seemed to be stuck. By the smell, I guessed it led to the kitchen. I gave the door a hard shove, and to my surprise, it cracked open. Never give up, kids. There were sheets of paper all over the kitchen table. It looked like a series of names were written down, but they were too smudged to read. I could only make out a few of the notes. Keycard. Otter. Last one. I promise. It didn't make much sense at the time. The smell of old dishes and moldy food was dizzying. Hey, Mousy. Cause and effect. The switch in the wall appeared to have unlocked the door. Sweet! The box looked heavy, but there were marks on the floor. It had obviously been moved before. Maybe I found a way out. Must have moved it, right? I heaved the box forward and finally gave. There was a ladder going underground, where the box was. A dank smell rose from the passage. Classic Resident Evil style. Way you go down the ladder. My leg hurt like hell as I climbed down that ladder. The tunnel below was even darker, and the smell wasn't getting any better. But I had to get out of there and find my way home. Footprints in the dirt. Looked like more than one kind, and a lot of traffic. Whatever this place was, it was obviously used a lot. Places all over were marked on the old map of town. The industrial area near the river, various houses, and even the water tower near the old rail station. Guy upstairs must have done this, but what was his interest in the water tower? Some of the markings matched the scribbles I saw on the bookshelf upstairs. Newspaper clippings from the local paper. They were all about murders in town over the last few years. Wait, there were photos. Photos of our house! What the hell was that about? Maybe I should have looked around more. Try to find some kind of info. Oh, Rachel, please be okay. I wanted to rush home, but I had to find a way out first. Needed to see what else was down there. A work table covered in papers, dirt, and a handgun? I hated guns. I didn't take it, did I? Yeah. I tucked the small handgun into my pocket. Its weight was somehow reassuring. Why did I take the gun? It was so dark down there, and the air smelled stale and putrid. I couldn't believe what I saw. What was this place? Some kind of homemade rack slung together with poorly cut wooden rope. It was caked with old blood. Somebody didn't actually use that, did they? The smell in that room was like old grease and rot. I wasn't getting closer to finding anything useful. The desk looked old and was caked with grime. On it was a stack of old faded paper covered with what looked like names. They were scratched out, and illegible notes were written beside them in the faded blue ink. I could only make out a few letters. He, if, hey, hey, he, af, roll. None of it made any sense to me. See how far we can go. Oh, we can go down further. Looked like a cage? It was small, but there was something coating the bottom. Something wet. That place was getting worse all the time. I knew how to keep moving. Crudely made shelves. They looked like they were holding cans of some kind of corrosive. The labels were worn and slick, but I could still see the warnings. The slight fumes that still emanated from the cans made me dizzy. Ooh, torture! There looked to be bones half dug into the ground, and their remains looked old. Who put them there? Wondered, what would I have found if I had dug deeper? Found the skeleton's porn collection. He was killed because he had a skeleton boner. Some kind of old boxes? They looked like they were years old. Wait a minute. These boxes had old clothes in them. Clothes I remember throwing out after Rachel and I moved to town. What the hell were they doing here? I was scared before. I was terrified now. Why were there photos of our house there? These clothes. Was that why I was there? I checked my back pocket and realized my wallet was missing. Did I come to that house? Or did someone bring me? There wasn't anyone there. Was I hearing things? What the... What the hell? What the... Oh! I remember noticing the broken ladder. I had to be careful. I'm just gonna walk right by it. There was a rope hanging there. I wasn't sure how sturdy it was. Did I take it? Maybe the rope would make that broken ladder easy to descend. What the fuck was that? I have the rope now. There must have been a use for it around somewhere. That was spooky. Rope I found would have let me climb down the broken ladder safely. Did I climb down? I could hear a faint hum, and the smell from before was starting to get worse. A bunch of old newspapers, wheat pasted together. A message on it had been hastily smeared on it. Keep out! Danger due to cave-in. I wanted nothing more than get out of there. Ooh. I could still feel a faint impression of the rope I had slid down as I pressed against the heavy metal door. It was probably for the best I hadn't jumped. The ache in my leg was bad enough as it was. If I could have, though, I would have run straight out of those awful tunnels. Who would keep such a place? At least, I thought I had found that old handgun. It seemed to work, and from the smell of it, it had already been used already. I kept the gun in my pocket. It seemed a familiar weight there. There was dirt on the ground. It looked wet, and there was grass smeared within it. Odd, there was similar dirt on my own shoes. An exposed ventilation shaft. Maybe someone crawled through there? But it was so high up that it must have been a sore landing. My leg ached just thinking about it. I could hear a faint trickling sound, like water. What was that? A kitchen knife covered in drying blood. Thinking about it made me sick. I didn't even want to touch it. Did I take the knife? Yes! I slipped the knife in my boot since I had the gun in my pocket. Did I really need all this? You never know, man. Ah! The fuck was that? Door was locked. There was a musty smell from inside. God damn it. That was scary. I wasn't sure, but I thought it was some kind of regulator. I had no idea how it worked. I wasn't sure what those valves were for. Did I turn it? There's no instructions. Door is locked. But there's instructions. Maybe there's something up that ladder. Disgusting. It was a mess of filthy garbage bags. There were rips and tears in most of the bags. What looked like an old videotape was sticking out. Did I take the tape? Yeah. I wasn't sure what I hoped to discover with the tape, but I took it anyway. I did not want to keep digging through this mess. There was a rusty ladder sunk into the water, which smelled disgusting. I knew that I couldn't climb down that. Maybe I could find a way to drain the putrid water. Through this puzzle! Through the dust, I could see handprints from previous use. Probably from whoever worked in the sewers. Okay, so that doesn't do anything anymore. Thought I could turn this water valve to shut off its flow. Did I turn it? Valve was still active. Did I turn it again? Ah! Okay, so I just gotta keep going until it's off. Oops. That one's done. Yeah, there we go. Does that open this one too? Nope. Cool, I can go down now. Looked like the water drained out of that grate into the wall. There's a small metal key floating in the shallow pool of rancid water. Did I take it? Yep. So odd shape, I know what idea it might open. Let's go back up and see if it opens that door. Damn it. The safety poster had definitely been seen better days. How old was that facility? Faded paper was yellow and dusty, but there it had obviously been wiped off recently. The door was locked. I could see a faint light within. There was a security camera in the room. There must have been a way to see what had happened. Maybe the VHS tape I found could be useful. Couldn't help but wonder if someone was watching me from the other side. I found another dead body. A sewer worker. By the wounds all over his face and body, I figured he'd been stabbed repeatedly. There was a key ring sticking out of the man's pocket. Did I take it? I thought about the knife I had found with some disgust as I carefully picked the keys from his pocket. I was almost worried he was going to grab me. I was feeling even more sick from seeing another dead man. I didn't want to get any more blood on my clothes. I used the keyring to unlock the door. The shelf full of security tapes was strictly organized, though covered in dust. Looks like the tape I found was the one that was missing from the shelf. There was a dusty VCR on the security desk. I wonder what was on that VHS desktop I found. Did I play it? Yep. Oh no. The video showed a... Okay, that was loud. The video showed a man right there in the sewers, looked being attacked. The tape looked fuzzy and stretched, like somebody had tampered with it. It looked like there could have been two men. I couldn't stand to watch that video again. I wonder what was on the tape and why it was thrown out. I wonder if I could go to that one door, now that I have the key ring. I tried a bunch of the keys in the keyring I found on that sewer, and one of them seemed to fit. Yay! A collection of stale liquor bottles covered the floor. That room didn't seem like much of a place for drinking. What was the point? The wall was littered with dozens of old, faded papers. Whoever did this was obsessed with some local murders. According to some of the clippings, bodies had been found in ravines, in the forest, and in one case, dumped in the back of an abandoned truck. I couldn't be sure, but I thought of some of these same articles had also been pasted up back in those tunnels. A faded receipt was just half crumpled on the floor. It's from a local train station. It was for 2 tickets. I don't know what use it could be, but did I keep the receipt? No. I didn't think I felt the receipt was going to help me get out of here. Did that sewer worker find this room? Is that why he was killed? The hell's causing that static? I was gonna say, are we going the Silent Hill route and getting a radio? Ah! Fuck! Shit! Ah! Oh my god! Oh my god, that was so scary. Oh my god. Jesus, my heart. This must have been the other end of that ventilation shaft. Whoever used it could have gotten past the flooded room with this. Did I ever go in this room pass by? Okay, yeah, I did. Oh god. Fucking steam. Would I need that gun or that knife before the end? Both weighed me down and aggravated my leg as I climbed that old ladder. The thought of that videotape still gave me chills. Who was it that didn't want to be seen? Was it the same person that hid all those clippings away in the locked room? Suddenly, that awful smell of that sewer gave way to a pine-scented blast of fresh air. Back into the sewers you go, you sewer disgusting animal. Okay, that'll take me back now. Ooh. An old ladder leading up to an ancient water tower. The ladder needed to be extended so I could climb it. Did I extend the ladder? I popped the latch and brought the ladder down. Ooh. In a patch of smeared dirt and grass, there was a beat-up old wallet. I thought it was mine. Did I take it? I slid the filthy wallet in my back pocket. I noticed it didn't contain any kind of gun permit. In fact, it didn't contain any cards or ID of any kind. I thought I should recover my credit card and driver's license, at least. Did I put this up here? Or was somebody else here carrying it? From the railing, I could see over the woods, and down to the entrance to the sewers. Had I come through here before? If I did, someone definitely could have seen me. It was getting cool up there, and I shivered with an uneasy sense of what was to come. How did I get home from here? I tried the little key I'd fished out of the murky puddle in the sewers. It fit, and I heaved open the rusty door. The wind was picking up a bit. The night air had become strangely chilly. Damn, that's grating on the ears. This must have been the entrance to the forest that was mentioned on that map I've seen. Whoever was poking around those tunnels underneath that man's house had scribbled notes on this place, but I couldn't make them out. Here, the sign pointed out various campsites, walking paths within the woods. It mentioned a river and maybe a washroom, but the rest was too faded to see clearly. Oh, okay. I can either go to the forest or to that door. Ah, since I had the key, let's go to that door. The old train station was quiet as a tomb. The only sound was that of the increasing wind buffeting the decrepit structure. Okay. An ancient ticket booth was falling apart, covered in dust and grime. Stacks of paper lined the counter, faded remains of old schedules and reports. Among the papers were newer-looking sheets, covered in scribbles and illegible notes. Come to think of it, the man in that house had kept similar scribbles hidden on his bookshelf. And he had notes on the water tower outside too. I guess he could have been coming here, but why? What was he using this old station for? Maybe he worked here. An old map encased in glass hung on the wall. It was the train routes connected to the old station. As I looked at it, it seemed familiar. Of course, the map I found in those tunnels had similar locations marked. And the notes I found on the other man's bookshelf. His notes mentioned the water tower, and even this train yard. What was he doing coming back here? Okay, yeah. I thought I saw a door for a second, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna... The old train was ripped open and hanging from a shred of metal, as well as the broken fence, was a dark-stained patch of cloth. It looked synthetic, like some kind of outerwear. Inside the train's shell, I could see a few faint impacts, like wounds. Could they have been bullet marks? Was somebody shot there? The ground was well worn, though I couldn't really make anything out. I realized I was touching the gun I had found as I thought. It was getting colder out there, and I had to keep moving. Okay, so I guess I gotta go through the forest. Alright, for the loud grating noise. If you got in the woods today. A dry old picnic table sat lonely amongst the trees. It had carvings and marks from years of previous campers. As I tried to read some of the names and the marks, I idly thumbed the knife I'd found. If I wanted to, I could have carved something onto that table. Did I? With a few crude strokes, I etched a simple design into the wood. R plus H. I felt like a teenager, two-facing the table. Big nerd! The path ended a cold-looking river. I wasn't sure it was safe to cross like this. Did I cross it? Oh man, the fuck? Whoa! Two bodies. Two young women were half dug into a hasty, shallow grave between the trees. The younger-looking one was still face up, her dead eyes gleaming against my flashlight. I had no idea who the girls were. I didn't touch the gravesite, did I? It was best to leave this alone and find a way out of those damned woods. Spooky! Ba 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 ba. Skip. Okay, yeah. I don't want to be caught. Yeah, we'll be back. Yes. God, that's spooky. Trampled into dirt and grass was a plastic card of some kind. I brushed off and was surprised to see it was my credit card. I wasn't sure if it was still usable, but it was mine. Did I take back? I pocketed the credit card. Hopefully I could find my driver's license too. Through the fence I could see a dilapidated outbuilding. Wonder if I could find my way around. Like this? There was a fire pit there. It was still a bit warm. A few embers still burned at the bottom. Was someone else out in the woods? Why did they abandon the campsite? Two folding camp chairs were on the ground. One was knocked over. There were a couple of cans of beer spilled on the ground. I'm guessing this was his girls. It was found murdered. The cheap dome tent slept two people. I shone my flashlight inside and could see some bedrolls, two backpacks, and a cooler. Did this tent belong to those two girls? More than likely. Oh god. There's some personal effects shoved back into the rock. Wait, there was a notebook there too. Did I read it? Inside the cheap dollar store notebook was a page after a worn page of names and lists. None of it made much sense. The newest page contains several names. Heather, Olivia, Ashley, Cheryl, Iris, Daphne, Holly, Rose, Rachel. Rachel? Her name was last on the list and had a mark beside it in blue ink. The names Daphne and Olivia had been crossed out in the same blue ink. Cheryl, Heather, and Rose had also been crossed out, but these marks look older and more faded. Who are all these names? I can only think about how much I need to get home to make sure Rachel was okay. Hey, we made it to the building. The grimy sink had a small patch in it that looked almost clean. There wasn't much in the way of clean water there, but the sink did work. There was a damp-smelling plank leaning against the stall door. Might have been able to cross the river with it. Did I take it? No. Left the plank. I'm on the other side. The sign was the same as the first one I'd seen. This was an exit to the other side of the woods. I had finally found the exit. Once I left, I knew I never wanted to return there. Oof. The forest started to thin out a bit, and through the trees I could make out parts of the town beyond, and the first hints of light. The mysteries of that forest were behind me, but I could still feel them on my neck, like a warm breath. Those girls I had found, someone had taken them from their campsite and murdered them. Was it the same person who had left that odd notebook? I was even more eager to get somewhere safe, and to find a way to reach Rachel. Pop, boop, pop, ball. As I stepped through the gate, I suddenly recognized the auto parts factory, where I'd worked as a machinist for all those years. The plant had closed, almost 3 years ago now. Times were better then. Thought I could hear a faint rustling behind me. Maybe it was just the wind. Oh god, I hope it was just the wind. Oof. Ah! One of the lockers hung open, and its contents were tossed around, like someone had been looking for something. Yeah, scaring the shit out of me. Door was locked shut, and there was a little electronic box under the handle. A sign was pasted to the front that said, "Danger, closed for repairs." There was a large power box with 5 lights on it. Cables burst out of the box, snaking off to other parts of the factory. The metal was starting to wear. Cobwebs had collected on the corners. The box wasn't receiving any power. The door was locked tight. It seemed to be connected to the power box. Every part of this plant smelled old and rotted. I noticed the old bulletin board on the wall. The board contained yellow clippings of newspaper, cartoons, and notices. There were notes here from the guys that work here. Ugh, sorry. One of them was to Norman, who was one of the older guys on the line. Norman took over a general store after the factory closed. He, Rachel, and I would get lunch every now and then. Rachel liked him because he seemed more positive, despite the setback. I don't think I could say the same about me. He was trying to steal my wife. Power panel. Looked like it was shut off. That's one. The open locker was stuffed with dirty work clothes and old boots. There was a photo of a woman taped to the inside, but it was scratched out and the face was unrecognizable. Yay! Shut tight. There was a rusty-looking card slot on the other side. Making a way to solve the puzzles. Our old break table. The layer of dust and grime only made seeing this thing more odd. It seemed like some beer bottles had been used on the table recently. They weren't as dusty as the rest of it. This was Norman's locker. The door was dented like someone had punched it. I don't remember doing that when we worked there. Yay! A 3 out of 5. A utility shelf crammed with mismatched tools and items. There's a claw hammer on the shelf. Did I take the hammer? I took the hammer and noticed it wasn't as dusty as the rest of the tools on the shelf. Another panel. Ta-da! Alright, power's back. That was easy. I struck with the hammer. The old wooden boards came apart easily. After I removed the planks, I left the hammer on the floor. This was my locker. There in the factory. It stank of booze. There was a picture of Rachel on the inside. It looked like it had been torn off. Thought I'd taken that picture home when the factory closed. The floor was littered with old liquor bottles. I wonder if that man in the house had something to do with this. Sure had a lot of alcohol at his place. The room was nothing but bad memories. Alright. With the power box working, the door was unlocked. Did I go through? The handle stepped through. A rack of flashlights hung on the wall. One of them was missing. Wait a minute. They were exactly the same as the flashlight I was carrying. I turned my own over and looked at the bottom. Judging by the label, it definitely could have come from the rack. My head pounded as I stepped back outside, once again enveloped in the scent of pine trees and muck. The path beyond was terribly dark, and I was grateful that my flashlight was still working. I wondered, though, was it taken from the plant? It sure seemed to, but how did I get a hold of it? I had little choice but to follow the path, and hope that it would got me back to town. I wondered, Norman had his store along the main road. Was he close? If he was, I could certainly use some help. A pickup truck had smashed into the guardrail and stood silent. Was this the truck that those newspaper clippers mentioned? Was there really a body found here too? Oh man, that rusty noise. The garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food in slick black bags. I saw a thin greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged, but did I take it? Yep. Cleaned the card off as best as I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed to have found my credit card, and now this. I tucked the card in my wallet next to my credit card. Sounded like it was going to start raining again. I entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that we're in. It was oddly quiet, except for the faint sound of a TV. Oh god. Oh god. What the hell? One of Rachel's old autumn coats hung on a rack. That was Norman's bedroom, wasn't it? What was this doing here? Inside the cabinet was a small but impressive collection of hunting rifles, shotguns, and even a few items I didn't think were legal here. One of the slots on the rack was empty. The gun I had found seemed to match the others there. The handgun was Norman's. What the hell was he doing with it? The gun would fit there. Did I place it back? Yeah. Carefully pushed the piece back in place and felt a great burden lifted. A speck of something dark and wet stained one of the sleeves. Norman? Buddy, you here? TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. couldn't make out what was on the screen, but that glow just gave me the chills. Dun dun dun! Oh no. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, my coworker, one of the few friends I had in this town, lay dead beside his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood. It looked like he had been shot trying to get up. His eyes were wide with shock, though they were already dying. Norman, what was Rachel doing here? Why did you have her coat? Norman, maybe you deserve better. You probably did. Did I close his eye? I closed his eyes down, shuddering as I did so. Wasn't sure if I wanted to give him peace or if it just couldn't stand to think anymore about what was going on. Wow, what a parallel and scary journey. Unfortunately, that's all time we have for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed what you saw. If you missed any of the action, it'll be on my YouTube channel later, The Otter Samurai. Hit like, subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next spooky episode.